Hello everybody on YouTube, this is Super Nintendo, and you know what I like? I like Zelda. You know what else I like? I like characters in Legend of Zelda. I also kind of like some of the helper characters. Specifically, I like Navi and Fi. I like others too, but this video is mainly going to be about those two. Now, why do I like them? Well, I'm going to go in depth, so get your pitchforks and torches ready, because I got some unpopular Zelda opinions. Alright, so I'm going to start with Navi first, just because she is typically the one people, at least from what I can gather, people hate her more. So I'd like to go in, not to mention she came first, so I mean, like from a design spectrum, whatever. I'm going after Navi first. I'm going after Navi first. Navi is a character that, personality-wise, there's not much to her. She has like 2 or 3 scenes with actual emotion, and the rest is mostly just, basically there to remind you of what you were doing, pretty much. And, hey, look, listen. However, that's not the reason that I like her. The reason I like her is because of what she adds to Link's character. See, a lot of people forget that Link, prior to Ocarina of Time, had no backstory. There was nothing that made Link a character. Link was just an empty shell, pretty much. He was a character. I mean, like, there's a Link to the Past, or Link's Awakening Link, but he's like, he has more of a personality, I guess, kind of, if the character's interactions with him are any indication, but he doesn't really have a backstory, even though he's technically the same Link as a Link to the Past Link. No other Link prior to Ocarina had a backstory. But this Link, he was a Hylian that was, his family, possibly village, was decimated. His mother, bleeding, very close to death, gets to the Lost Woods and asks the Great Deku Tree to watch over and raise her child. Her believing that her son is destined for some kind of purpose, pretty much. Lucky for her, she was right. So Link basically grows up around Kokiri, little childlike creatures that don't age, and all have fairies. Most of them teasing Link and bullying him, specifically. Well, most of the bullying, I think, is more so done by Mido, but it's implied that most of the other children at least teased him about not having a fairy. And Link always felt like an outsider, pretty much, in his own home. He always felt like, I don't belong here. I'm not really one of you. And I gotta say, as somebody who kind of grew up feeling that way, and still do, this hits home really well for me. Now, I'm not talking about my feelings on these games in particular, I'm just talking about the characters. And when Link finally gets Navi, he has, it's like, I have a purpose. I am now one of you. My wings have sprouted. I've earned my wings, pretty much. And then to find out that he is summoned by the Great Deku Tree, something that supposedly none of the other Kokiri have ever gotten to do. Getting Navi literally changed his life, for better or for worse. And he is basically set off on this journey where he has to fight monsters, save people, get engaged to Azora, and then they, as the story goes on, Link becomes much more bonded with Navi. They learn together, they fight together, they travel through time together, they defeat evil together. And by the end of the game, when Navi leaves, which there is a theory about why that is. Personally, I agree in the a theory that I'll talk about at the end of the video, because it's not really important to this, but I do say it adds a little bit to Navi as a character if this theory holds true. Once Navi leaves, Link has basically matured into a hero. And after stopping the future events, he goes off in search of Navi, which kicks off the events of Ocarina of Time. Eventually, Link then loses an eye and gains all kinds of hidden skills, and then dies, but stays around as a spirit because of regret. Now, Twilight Princess and the Hyrule Historia say that the regret is more so that he couldn't pass on his hidden skills to a protege, somebody to teach his skills, pretty much, for him to teach, pretty much. But I think it also had something to do with the fact that I think he couldn't find Navi. So he has regret that he could never find the one that changed his life. Honestly, in a game where Link is heavily criticized for not having very much emotion, and I think it's more so that he doesn't emote. I think Navi adds a lot to the game, as much as people find her annoying. Now, as far as why people find her annoying, I don't think that's her fault. Let me go into a little bit more detail about Navi. Navi, in Ocarina of Time, whenever anything happened, pretty much it took like so freaking long for the text to go, pretty much, because like the text scrolling in that game was super slow. But Navi is the one who most frequently talks because of her being a companion hint character. So I think a lot of the blame for this gets put on her, when I think that's really unfair, because every fucking line of dialogue is like that. Like, you could, like, I feel like if Ocarina had skippable cutscenes and the ability to speed up, and I'm specifically talking about the N64 version, because I know the 3DS version capitalizes on this and fixes this issue somewhat. The N64 version, if it had skippable dialogue trees, or not trees, if it had skippable dialogue, skippable cutscenes, and the ability to basically speed through text, like in games prior to Ocarina, I feel like this wouldn't even be a complaint. Honestly, yeah, I don't think the complaints on Navi are really fair or valid. And for those who want to say, oh, you're just an Ocarina fanboy, I did play Ocarina when I was a kid. I will admit that. However, as I have to repeatedly point out, because, this is a video and I have to assume that nobody has seen any of my previous videos, I have a massive memory problem where I forget pretty much everything. Basically, it's like amnesia after just about 3 days, give or take a week. So I remember nothing about my childhood. Not a single goddamn thing. I remember general information. Like, I played Ocarina as a kid. I don't remember any specifics. I don't even know how far I got into the game. I played Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 as a kid. Again, don't know what I played. My first Zelda was Link's Awakening. Don't remember anything specific. So, you can't have nostalgia if you don't have nostalgic memories, and I have no memories to speak of. So, just want to get that out of the way. Ocarina is a game that I didn't even complete until I got it on my 3DS. And this isn't the one I beat it on, but yeah. And according to my 3DS play log, I have played the 3DS version over 1,600 times. And the reason for that is because it was, for a long period of time, like over 2 years, it was my only 3DS game. So like I had nothing else to play, so I just kept playing through Ocarina over and over again. Honestly, I just got done replaying it just today, honestly, right before I made this video. So, yeah, I think that Navi is unfairly criticized for shit, and honestly, I think she adds a lot to Link's character. So, now that we're done talking about Navi, for the time being, puns! Let's talk about Fi, because honestly, there's not a whole lot for me to talk about with her, but I do feel like she is also unfairly hated. Fi is the spirit of the goddess and later Master Sword. She is basically personality-wise a robot. She says things as logically and factually as possible. And basically, because she does this, she comes off as unintentionally sassy because she says things too matter-of-factly, kind of like I do, to be honest. I do that all the time, and it annoys people so much. I just do it because it annoys people and it's fun. But back on topic. Fi is... Over the course of the game, she builds a connection with Link, and vice versa. Link builds a connection with her. I gotta say, I honestly did feel the connection a lot when I first played Skyward Sword. And, honestly, like, one of the big criticisms with her is that, like Navi, she basically repeats a lot of information. However, I think a lot of people who complain about this fail to factor in Link's personality in Skyward Sword. And yes, he does have a personality. It's just not as accentuated when the player takes control, because he's supposed to be the link between the character and the player. However, you can get a really good handle on Link's personality if you actually read the dialogue, and I know a lot of players of Skyward Sword don't do this. If you read the dialogue, you get a handle on Link's personality. Link is very much a character with his head in the clouds. He is always daydreaming, and he's almost always like half asleep. It makes sense that he would have to have this information relayed back to him over and over again, because he doesn't seem like the type that would listen. He doesn't seem like a good listener. And, there we go with the redundancy. Like I said, he doesn't seem like a good listener, and as a result, this repeating information from Fi to Link, I think makes sense in an in-universe perspective. Is it good from a game design perspective? I don't fucking know. It honestly, that is a design, that is a feeling thing towards. I almost kind of look like All Might because like half my face is covered in shadows. What is good or bad game design is often subjective and up to the player or the user. Pretty much, it's like humor. You know, it's like I find this funny, you don't find that funny. Is either one wrong? It's up to interpretation. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, Fi and Navi are both unfairly criticized for their roles, pretty much. Now, I did say when I was talking about Navi that I would talk about a theory that I think that makes me like Navi even more. And honestly, I can't even do this theory justice. So, I'm going to play a clip from one of HMK's videos that talks about Navi. And, HMK, if you're not cool with this, please let me know and I'll just redo this video and do it myself, pretty much. But, yeah. So, HMK, I'm going to play some audio from your video, Zelda Theory, Navi's Disappearance. Link is in the description below as to the full video. But I'm just going to be playing a little bit of audio from this. So without further ado, here it is.
In Hyrule, every fairy has a role, and when that role is fulfilled, that fairy fades away. When I met you, my role was to help you realize your destiny. We learned together, we fought together, and even traveled through time together. And then you defeated the evil king and became a true hero. And my role was fulfilled. Instead of fading before your eyes, I took the coward's way out and gave you false hope. All I can say is, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
God damn it, gets me every time. So, first off, hats off to the person doing Navi's voice, because holy shit, the emotion on display. Damn it. Secondly, I do agree with this theory, because honestly, it makes the most sense, and I feel like it's the most likely as to what happened. Honestly, with it like that, it gives Navi, it doesn't give Navi like Full Metal Alchemist levels of personality or anything, but it does, however, give her a little bit more. It makes her disappearance at the end of Ocarina all the more heartbreaking, honestly, to me. Like, after... I just said that after... Where the hell is it? I just said that after... Just before making this video, I replayed Ocarina of Time. I didn't say anything about Skyward Sword because I wanted to kind of talk about that. Skyward Sword, I just finished playing yesterday. Replaying it. I've had it for a while. And honestly, I did that in preparation for this video because I wanted to be as fair to these characters as possible from a character and lore standpoint. And honestly, I feel like a large chunk of the Nintendo fan base hates them unfairly. You know, like it's as overblown as the fucking hate for Ocarina of Time's water dungeon. It's not that fucking hard. It's not even at worst. It's tedious. At worst, and honestly, I don't even think it's tedious. Maybe on repeat playthroughs when you play Ocarina like upwards to 100 times, but you guys need to let that shit go. Well, that has been my video on Navi and Fi. I may make more of these videos talking about hated video games or video game characters that I personally feel are unfairly criticized to a ridiculous degree. So, that has been all for this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. See ya!